The king and queen of the ring have been narrowed down to 4 people, and today we're going to make a case for each and every single one of them, and I'll tell you who I think will take home the crown. We'll start off with Obafemi because honestly, it feels like he's the odds-on favorite. It feels like if you look at the participants, 99 out of 100 people, if they had no knowledge of wrestling, they'd be like, that guy is going to win. But as we know, this is wrestling and shenanigans do happen. I know there are a lot of people who think Brock Lesnar is going to interfere and he will cost Oba the match, which will then lead to their rubber match at SummerSlam. However, what if we're wrong? What if Brock Lesnar wants the rubber match, but he also wants the championship? So Brock can let Obafemi win the crown, go to SummerSlam, challenge Roman Reigns, and then make his appearance known. Just like last year when he appeared at the end of SummerSlam to F5 John Cena. Well, you know, Obafemi celebrating his big title win, and then Brock comes out and F5s him, and the rubber match happens at WrestlePalooza. And Brock Lesnar is Obafemi's first challenger. So I don't think it's written in stone that Brock Lesnar's coming. There's a high probability that Oba is still on path to win the crown. And it would make all the sense in the world because Obafemi has been compared to Brock Lesnar's first year in the WWE way back in like 2002, 3, 4, whatever it was. And in that first year on the main roster, Brock won King of the Ring, went to SummerSlam, and beat The Rock for the title. Like Oba said, what is a ruler without a crown? I think Oba is going to SummerSlam and challenging for a belt. But don't worry, you, the viewer out there, you don't have to win King or Queen of the Ring to challenge for this title on my shoulder. All you got to do is comment below and subscribe to the channel. At 30,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away this belt right here, or any belt that's ever been on my shoulder. You can pick it. All you got to do, like I said, comment, subscribe, that's it. And could you actually like the video? It's not that hard for you to like the video if you actually like the video, and it helps the channel so freaking much. It costs you $0 to hit that like button, so please do. I'm literally giving out $500 belts, $600 belts, just to try to get engagement. So if I can't bribe you, can you just like the video? Thank you. It's not a toy, by the way. It's a replica. All right, let's do Dominic Mysterio next. He is facing Oba at Monday Night Raw, and it would seem an impossible task to topple Obafemi, especially if you're kind of a chicken heel that Dominic has presented himself basically his entire career. So how could he win? Well, you know, honestly, maybe Brock does get involved. Brock Lesnar getting involved would allow Dominic to win because we could just repeat when Eddie Guerrero beat Brock Lesnar way back when. We just do that same kind of template for this match. But why would Dominic be a great king? Well, for one, he already calls himself the king of the luchadors, so, well, you know, he would now have a crown. And the fact is, he's still a young cat. We have not had someone under 30 as a champion since Bray Wyatt. All right, let that sink in. So right now, Dominic's been on the roster for a very long time, and he's still under 30. The guy has been heralded as a future champion for how long? Well, maybe the future is now. Maybe we should go all in on him. He doesn't have to beat Roman Reigns. We could have him go to SmackDown, challenge Cody Rhodes for the title, who they have kind of a history together. They used to do the house show circuit. And who's now on SmackDown? Finn Balor. Finn Balor could instantly step up as Dom's first challenger. The crowd loves Dominic Mysterio. Even when we're booing Dom, we still love Dom. And yeah, he's put in the work. He's put in the time. He has the character. It would be fresh. It would be new. Dominic Mysterio, I think, has a decent shot at winning the King of the Ring if Brock gets involved in their match. Time out. Okay, so I don't think I explained one of my points properly. So I do understand that Obafemi is also under 30. In fact, he's 28 and Dominic is 29. However, what the point I was trying to make was Dominic Mysterio is both under 30 and has been on the main roster for many, many years. I think like this is his 5th or 6th year right now. So he has that. That was the point that I was actually trying to make. But, you know, Obafemi, solid winner and would be under 30. But if we want to go with really under 30, then Javon Evans is the call. Now, I think Javon Evans is the dark horse to win the tournament. I think he's the least likely of all the competitors. However, there is a case to be made for him. You think Dominic would be a fresh face in the title scene? Javon would be the freshest of all. He has a really good connection with the crowd. It's a way to make an instant main eventer. And you could say that for Obafemi as well. But honestly, Obafemi, you already know. You look at the guy and you're like, that's a main eventer. You look at Javon Evans, you don't instantly think that. So you give the dude the crown. You give the dude a shot at SummerSlam. The youngest, he's like, what, 22, 23 years old? I can't even remember right now. But I know that he would be the youngest of all time. And Triple H loves those kind of moments, those kind of stats that you can throw on social media. Look, we just crowned the youngest champion of all time. So that is actually working in his favor. A big social media post to herald how young and hip WWE is. And, you know, Javon would run with it. Javon, every opportunity he's been given, he has really knocked it out of the park. And then our final potential king of the ring is the guy that I think everybody wants, especially the internet, to win. And that's Jey Uso. Or maybe I'm getting that wrong. Maybe nobody wants him to win. I know. There's a couple people out there. Who actually do want Jey to win. You know, The Rock, Roman Reigns. I'm just kidding, people. I actually like Jey Uso. I don't want him to win the King of the Ring. I was kind of hoping this guy, would. But you know what? We're here. Let's make a case for Jey Uso. All right, so you got Roman as your tribal chief, your OTC 1 on Raw. What if there's an OTC 2? Roman did say that while he is the head of the table, there are 2 ends of the table. So we could have Jey at the other end of the table as your OTC 2. He could be trying to get Solo Sikoa in line. You have the bloodline proper and then Jey Uso's bloodline on SmackDown. Suddenly, they're ruling all of WWE. And think about this. There's Cody Rhodes, who's currently feuding with Sami Zayn and Gunther. Guess what? Jey has a history with all of them. Jey's like the only guy who hasn't really turned on Cody Rhodes since WrestleMania 40. Sami Zayn and Jey, they're brothers from another mother. Sami is considered an honorary Uso. And then there's Gunther. Well, we could just run back the WrestleMania 41 main event. I don't want that to happen, but I'm just saying there's 3 potential opponents for Jey Uso. They don't have to rewrite anything in regards to the undisputed title storyline because Jey can fight all 3. And then you could have Roman and Jey sitting at the complete top, and that will then rally all the rest of the WWE stars to finally realize, oh crap, they're completely running back 2020 to 2024. We need to do something. If done right, you could almost have an NWO-esque storyline where it doesn't matter what side of the babyface heel line you are, you gotta stop this. You gotta stop this greater evil because the bloodline will have essentially taken over all of WWE at that point. So whether we like it or not, there are reasons to give it to Jey Uso. So all that said, who do I think is going to be your next King of the Ring? I'm going to go Dominic Mysterio. I honestly think that Brock Lesnar will get involved and cost that match. I'm picking Dominic Mysterio. Him with the crown, he'll be so obnoxious. He'll be so freaking obnoxious. All right, let's now go to the Queen of the Ring. And I'm thinking, ooh, this one's tough. This one's tough because we're going to start off with, weirdly, the women's world champion, Liv Morgan. She has been inserted in the Queen of the Ring. I think today is day 58 of Liv Morgan and 0 title defenses. And please don't come at me and say, well, Jade Cargill didn't defend her title for 100 days. We're not talking about Jade Cargill. Don't come at me and say, well, Io Sky didn't defend her title for X amount of days. We're not talking about Io Sky. Their title reign sucked. All right, their title reign sucked. Go back on my channel, and I talked about how their title reign sucked. But we are talking about the current champion, Liv Morgan, and her title reign sucks. So, and at the end of the day, all 3 of their title reigns sucked because of Triple H. It wasn't Jade's fault. It wasn't Io's fault. It wasn't Liv Morgan's fault. It is Triple H's fault. That said, Liv Morgan's title reign sucks. She shouldn't be in Queen of the Ring. She is in Queen of the Ring. I could see her even winning Queen of the Ring, especially if Dirty Dom wins. We're in a very unique situation where you have 2 on-screen people that are in a relationship, could be literally king and queen of the ring. Could you imagine how horrible and obnoxious those 2 would be? But what happens to the title shot if she wins? Because you get a shot at the title for being the queen. Well, you know, Liv Morgan on the post show of the last PLE did say that she wants all the belts. She wants all the belts. So she wins Queen of the Ring. She challenges Rhea Ripley, who is her arch nemesis, and, well, they go. 1, you could do Liv 2 belts. If Rhea's injured and has a knee injury, well, there you go. Right there. Take the belt off Rhea, put it on Liv. Now she has both belts and the crown, like, even more obnoxious. Or you could change it and Liv could say, no, you know what? Instead of picking Rhea, I'm going to choose my own opponent, and then she just picks somebody, right? Or we could have Liv face Rhea Ripley, and Rhea's title is on the line, but Liv Morgan's title is not on the line. And in that case, then Rhea would just pin Liv Morgan and we go back to the status quo. I would hate that idea, but I'm trying to think like Triple H. And so, like, these are reasons why and how Liv Morgan could win. Her opponent is Charlotte Flair. And honestly, just being Charlotte Flair is honestly reason enough that WWE will let her win. They kind of want to give Charlotte all the accolades, and she doesn't have a Queen of the Ring on her resume. Plus, her nickname is the Queen. Therefore, she can make it official by becoming Queen of the Ring. She definitely did not need the Royal Rumble last year, and they gave it to her anyways. So, like, I just see them giving it to her just because her name is literally Charlotte Flair. Now, she does have history with Rhea Ripley, so we could do that. They have recently become friends, so it would take a tournament in order for that friendship to break, maybe, you know, but yeah, more so that her name's Charlotte Flair, that she could win this. Io Sky, very, very popular with the fans, but it seems like we cool her off a lot. I already talked about her title reign. It's like she wins the title and then they just drop all stories with her. Well, you know, she hasn't really been doing much since her banger feud with Asuka. So give her the crown. And then that could lead to a match with Rhea Ripley. Now they'd have to figure out a way to explain it because the queen gets to pick her championship. So why wouldn't she go after Liv instead of her friend? But I think we can make that happen. You know, maybe Liv gets in her ear and says, oh yeah, I'll challenge you. I don't mind challenging you. I'm sure you're afraid of Rhea. And then Io could be like, I'm not afraid of Rhea. And then, you know, Liv can start playing mind games to get in Io's head, which would then eventually lead to Io versus Rhea. Those two had one of the best matches of 2025, but it was never finished because, well, Naomi came and cashed in her Money in the Bank. So we never got that resolved. We could resolve it and finally see who is the better woman at SummerSlam if you gave it to Io. And it would allow Io to have something to do. However, the next one is the one who I think is going to win, and that's Raquel Rodriguez. If you look at the history of the King of the Ring, it usually goes to someone on the mid-card, a high mid-card player who is ready to break out. And yes, the most recent version has people like Cody Rhodes or Nia Jax winning who don't really need the crown, but historically speaking, it's been for mid-card players to bump up. Well, maybe we have Raquel Rodriguez finally bump up here. And if she can beat Io Sky and Liv Morgan can beat Charlotte Flair, we then go to Saudi Arabia, Night of Champions, and it's Raquel versus Liv Morgan. You let Raquel win. She gets a big victory over Liv Morgan, but it's a non-title match. Liv is very bitter, and we kind of do like we did with the Evolution back in the day, where suddenly after Batista won the Rumble, Triple H started trying to get him to go and challenge the SmackDown champion. And so Liv Morgan starts to do that. And then it comes out that Liv starts saying some passive-aggressive stuff like, I wasn't on my game. You're just lucky I was taking it easy on you because we're friends. And Raquel's like, what does that mean? This could turn Raquel into a full-fledged baby face. And she just says, yeah, I pick you, Liv. I pick you. Then we get a rematch at SummerSlam, and Raquel wins again, solidifying her as a main event draw in the women's division. So those are your reasons why each person should win, and why I think it's going to be Dominic Mysterio and Raquel Rodriguez as your king and queen of the ring. Let me know in the comments below who you think shall be crowned. See ya, bye.